must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Kenya's going to ICJ brings more chaos than tranquility in the region. The Kenya's consent to be taken to ICJ under Article 36 was not accepted. And Kenya has a mandate today to take back and do what we call a declaration as to whether they would like to take part in this ICJ. ICJ is not a court of a criminal nature. ICJ is a court of consent. If Kenya wants to withdraw from ICJ, Kenya can take one step back right to the court and stop cooperation with the court. Then the court take its measures until they solve the problems that you see that have been talked about. A Somali judge presiding over a corrupt bench making a decision, forcing Kenya into a corner to appear in this court, even when they are not prepared. The African Union Charter is very clear on the matters of the maritime borders and all the borders of African countries. A constitutive channel that of dialogue on the table could bring about a peaceful end to this dispute that has actually become a pain in the Indian Ocean enclave. It is very sad that the president of Somalia, President Famijo, tries to play to the gallery of imperial whims by calling a bluff of what they had agreed under the chairmanship of African Union. It is very sad again to make it very, very bad to look like African countries are fighting over borders that were demarcated without their knots. And yet, we are looking for a single passport where all Africans will be able to travel in Africa without the boundaries. It is sad again when you look at the trade, the inter-African trade, that charter which Somalia itself has endorsed and ratified, which will allow free trade in Africa without the borders. And then Somalia looks for a barrier that could bring about hardships in the region. Given all this, I think Kenya has a right to go back to the court, to write to the court, to tell them we have reconsidered, and our declaration is that cooperation of this court will depend on conditions like the presiding judge leaves the bench. Thank you, viewers.
Today marks a great day for me. For us in Pan-African Forum UK Limited, stand above the threats, intimidation, blackmailing that people receive so as not to speak about what is happening in Somalia. The matter of the Somali link or Somalia link with Qatar must be discussed openly by countries that are taking part in Somalia. The pacification of Somalia, for Somalia to become a state again, there is a need for cooperation. The cooperation to bring about peace is more important than the cooperation of countries that are seeking minerals, diamonds, gold, oil, skins, animals, and the rest from Somalia. My organization does not have a share, neither is it seeking to get anything, but to have Somalia and protect the Ugandan and the Kenyan troops, plus Burundian troops that have gone to do a good job in Somalia. Every time we hear reports of money laundering, some people think it is difficult to find out who has laundered which money, where and how. For us in Pan-African Forum UK Limited, we have networks that have exposed even the ICC before, and we have brought it to its knees for this type of money laundering. Qatar has become the main funder of terrorism in the world. We can now safely agree and safely agree to the people, the countries, especially those countries like Saudi Arabia, that said Qatar is a terrorist organization. It's not a country. Qatar is funding terrorist activities, coming in as economic saviors of some countries in Africa, while they are sponsoring terror groups that are expanding on the coastal line of the Indian Ocean up to Mozambique. It is therefore my duty as an African and us as Africans to point out these mistakes, such that the people can take these mistakes, correct them, and point out to Qatar to stop funding terror activities. 2, it is also very important for the people of Kenya to know that Al-Shabaab, Eritrea, Ethiopia are trading out a deal that will leave Kenya and Uganda in a mess. It is important that Farimajo should not lie to you that he is not having these deals or these negotiations are not taking place. We have evidence, concrete in black and white, of these meetings that are taking place on a daily basis in one of the capitals of the world called Doha and Asmara. These meetings have been taking place, and they are taking place, and that is why the United Nations Security Council failed to condemn Al-Shabaab as a terrorist group. One would wonder, why condemn the Taliban? Why condemn Boko Haram? But he failed to condemn Al-Shabaab, which has killed us Kenyans, killed us Ugandans, killed Somalis in hundreds and hundreds. Why? Can a government of Farimajo guarantee our peace? The shooting down of a plane commandeered by Ethiopians who are guarding the ground at the flower, who were told the plane had a humanitarian agency, is very dangerous. There is no diplomacy here. The truth must prevail. Ethiopia should stop engaging itself in activities that are going to create hegemony of the world's hegemony in the region. Thank you very much. God bless all of you. God bless Africa. God bless the Pearl of Africa. God bless Kenya. Keep our troops in Kismayo. Give them strength. Our troops in Mogadishu. Give them strength. We shall, tomorrow or days to come, talk to the owner of the plane that was brought down. We are going to expose all this. We have evidence. It's not local, it is inside. We know what happens, and we know what is taking place. Farimajo, Hassan Harriet have become axes of evil. Thank you.
very good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining us. This is Good Morning Africa. My name is Miriam Ogutu, and you're just in time for us to bring you the latest in terms of what's happening here in the country and indeed outside of Kenya. And as we, Kenya today woke up to a very surprising, news that Somalia has decided to cut diplomatic ties with Kenya over, I think, President Uhuru Kenyatta the other day had a meeting with Somaliland president, who is in the country for a 3-day state visit. And I guess President Farmajo, the president of the Federal Republic of Somalia, was not quite happy about it. So, what's at stake when in regarding to this story and this new development, because we know Kenya and Somalia, we not only share a border, but also we partner when it comes to the fight against, Al-Shabaab. The diplomatic ties is very important. So what will this mean for these two countries moving forward? And of course, as we speak right now, we know Somalia already took Kenya to the International Court of Justice in 2014 over the maritime boundary dispute there, that I think the case will commence next year in March. And so there's a lot in terms of the background of perhaps what has made President Farmajo take this move or make this move that he has. So that is a conversation we shall be having here. And before we get into it, I'd like to bring us up to date with the latest in terms of COVID-19 and Kenya this morning. The confirmed cases stands at 92,555. The death toll is 1,593. Recoveries stands at 73,452. Uganda confirmed cases 27,767 and 66. The death toll in Uganda is 224. Recoveries stands at 9,921 cases, and the total cases in Africa this morning is 1,812,001, and the number of deaths in the continent is 70,915. Recoveries in Africa this morning is 1,407,122, and of course the global statistics have surpassed 73.1 million, and the death toll globally is over 1.6 million, and the global recoveries have surpassed 51.3 million cases. So now let's just get into it, and to help me advance these conversations we're going to have today is Douglas Kirimi from Meru. Douglas, a very good morning to you.
A very good morning to you, Miriam, and to our crew in our headquarters in Nairobi, and to our viewers in Nigeria across the world.
All right, very well. And also we are joined by Professor Jared Onyari. Professor, good morning. All right, so as Professor works on his signal to join us, I think we'll go very quickly on the news-making headlines this morning. We will not dwell too much on the headlines because we have that important conversation we need to have on this new development about Somalia cutting its ties with Kenya, and we shall look at some background information. So I'll take us very quickly through the headlines this morning, and also I'll read a piece there that was written by Dr. Matanga earlier in his 5 a.m. thought in line with what we're going to talk about today. So I'll start with the Star newspaper. Uhuru men prepare Mount Kenya ground for Raila. A populous region wants key position in ODM's leader's future government. I don't know what you make of this, because we know Mount Kenya region has not been very warm when it comes to politics and towards the opposition leader Raila Odinga. Are we likely to see any changes when it comes to 2022, or are we likely to see an alliance? Because President Uhuru Kenyatta, after that handshake, he's developed a very close relationship in terms of what we saw culminating into the handshake and now the BBI process. So they've been having a good working relationship for the last nearly 3 years now. That put a further rift between him and his deputy and other politicians there. So will the tidings of opposition leader Raila Odinga be different when it comes to the 2022 politics and the central Kenya region? I'll start with you, Douglas.
Thank you, Miriam, and thank you for that profound question. Yes, the tidings for the Right Honorable Raila Odinga in Mount Kenya region are going to be changed into his basket, because at the end of the day, Miriam, in politics, it's not about who is in charge. It's about the region's interest. It's about our interest as a people, and even as Central Kenya. If we feel today, to quote my governor, Honorable Kiraito Murungi, the governor of Meru, when the interest of our people are taken care of by Raila Odinga or William Ruto or Musalia Mudavadi or Moses Wetangula, we don't care about the personality that is there. We care about our region's interest. And Kiraitu Murungi has been profound in this, and I am very glad to quote my governor today in terms of how the central region is going to support and who is going to support. If Raila Odinga gives us a better deal than William Ruto, we as the people of Central Kenya are going to back the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, and we shall not back down from that, because that is where our interest is. And we have seen our senior leaders in the region, people like Kiraitu Murungi, who have been in politics before I was born, people who have our interest as a community, people who have been able to negotiate for our region. And as you can see from now, there is no senior leader from Mount Kenya region who is going to gun for presidency. So as a region, the only way we can do now is that we can be able to get the people that are running for president and see whose best interest the Mount Kenya region are able to share with, and also their brain, their political pedestal. If Raila Odinga raises our political pedestal as a people, we are able to now back him for presidency, because politics is about interest. Politics is not about who is in charge. Politics is not about anything else. President Uhuru Kenyatta is the senior most leader in Mount Kenya region now, and the other leaders in Mount Kenya region now have coalesced around the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, and I can only wish him all the best as he guns for presidency and also gives us a share in the region.
All right, very well. Thank you so much, Professor. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Miriam.
All right, very well. Yes, and welcome to the show. And I'm told that you adjust your headroom there. And before we get into our main topic, Somalia has decided to cut diplomatic ties with Kenya, and we are going to get to that very quickly. But first of all, Uhuru men prepare Mount Kenya ground for Raila. This is the headline on the Star newspaper. And as I've said there, and we've seen through the history of the politics in this country, Mount Kenya region has not been very warm towards Raila when it comes to politics. And we see now after that handshake, of course, a section of leaders from that region are even rebelled against President Uhuru Kenyatta as his perceived friendship with now a former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. So going into 2022, because I know as we enter 2021, political temperatures will go very high, and perhaps we'll see new alliances and all of that. Do you think it will be a different tiding there for Prime Minister Raila, former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, when it comes to the politics in this country? And are we likely to see him gain substantial support from Mount Kenya region?
Miriam, I wish you could have not asked me that question. I don't like those kind of politics.
Okay.
You remember on Jamahuri Day, we admitted the 44th tribe, the Shona. There are 1,300. Who will take their interest, Miriam, if we cannot have someone who is a national leader, Miriam? I've listened to Douglas, and I said, oh God, Douglas as a young man is also, instead of thinking about Kenya, is thinking about regions. What you get as a region, Miriam? When are we going to get someone who will unite this country and speak for those who are not having the right majority, Miriam? Then, Miriam, how I wish then we go back to our tribal chiefs, Miriam. Even the Shona would have their chief. But be it as it may, it is a good development, Miriam. Mm-hmm. The region has been hostile to the Prime Minister. Welcoming him is a good gesture, but Miriam, that one should be extended to unite Kenya. That is an opportunity the Prime Minister has gotten so that he can strike and score and unite Kenya. Mm-hmm. What I am so much obsessed, Miriam, is having a united Kenya. Mm-hmm. They say BBI one Kenya. That is my desire and my concern. What will happen, Miriam, to those of us whom we come from small tribes? Mm-hmm. Who is going to speak on our behalf? So that's why I believe that we must have laws and constitutions which protects us. And I liked what Douglas said, that when you have got a good constitution, Miriam, good laws, it does not matter who is in power. Because so long as he subjects himself the rule of law and good governance, then we are home and dry. But again, from the conflict side, as an expert, I can tell you, they can warn for you, Miriam, and from the other section of the country, it can create a conflict. It can create a conflict for those who are perceived, like the side of the deputy president, Miriam. You know, they used to say, Uhuru Kumi, Ruto Kumi. Is that their Kenya that they decide that you vote for 10, go for the other 10? So, Miriam, if someone was trying to see that he was inheriting the populous force of Mount Kenya, Miriam, it can also lead to a conflict. But them opening up, speaking to the Prime Minister, seeing how the people with the mountain also are, but I hope the Prime Minister is a statesman. He will rise to the occasion, and he can even speak to the smallest and the newest tribes, the Shona.
All right.
Miriam.
Yes.
Miriam, before Professor is my father. Before he goes on that, let me put a rejoinder on that in a moment. Professor, what we are doing as Mount Kenya people, we are accommodating everyone, and this time, for the first time in our history as a region, we are not speaking about regions. We are accommodating the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, who we would not have welcomed before. We are a nationalistic community. We are a community of people who are going to accept a diverse presidential candidates and all that. But Professor, as a professor, you also know very well in politics is about interest. So when the Right Honorable Raila Odinga will be campaigning, he will go even to Mosambweni, and the people of Mosambweni will give him views. He'll go to Kisii and Nyamira. The people of those sides will give them their views as a region, how they are going to support him and what they are going to get. And I think, Professor, even with my generation, when I'll be running for president, or your son will be running for president, regions will still be giving views to the people who will be running for president. As a region, that shows we are not mopping around tribal cocoons and also tribal politics. What we are doing is that we are getting every people, including Kalonzo Musyoka, who studied at Meru School. If they come to Meru, we are going to support them. But at this time and in our history, we are going to support the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, because this is a man that has transited tribal politics and also tribal groupings. So at this point in time, Professor, I want to put a disclaimer. We are not campaigning as a region and a region's interest. We are giving our own views on who we are going to vote in as a president. And this time round, Professor, we are going to vote for whoever goes in this forward and takes this country forward. And at this point, we are quoting the Right Honorable Raila Odinga.
All right, and 2022 is far off, so we'll see how that will play out. We know, as I say there, we are getting into 2021. We will see different metrics they're playing when it comes to our political dynamics in this country. So we'll just leave that alone. And of course, on the front pages of the Daily Nation, State House ran too big a risk, allure of power in the dispensation proposed by the Building Bridges Initiative. Vying for the presidency may be foolhardy, as it could amount to losing everything. Top politicians, including second-term governors, are likely to seek constituency seats with the hope of being appointed Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Minister, or Cabinet Secretary there. So politicians, they're trying to see how they will fit in and how they will benefit should the BBI proposals there be passed. And down there on the Daily Nation, puzzle of brazen robbery at the Chandaria home. I was watching this story and I was very sad. How are you going to attack such a person? The attack at the Chandaria's home there, and police are investigating how 7 robbers gained access to industrialist Manu Chandaria's house in one of Nairobi's most heavily guarded addresses. During curfew hours, the robbers, who demanded cash from the elderly businessman and his wife, made away with money and jewelry. I just don't understand. Some people are quite daring, and from the story that from the news that I was watching yesterday, this seems to be pointing to an inside job of some sort. I don't know, but I was embarrassed that such a person would be attacked in this country. Javan, good morning.
Good morning, Miriam, and good morning to our viewers, and good morning to my friend Douglas Wesonga, and to our able Professor Jared Onyari on the panel.
So what do you make of that attack at the Chandaria's home the other night?
Yeah, Miriam, that was so unfortunate, and we need to know what is happening, because we know in this country, people of those great businessmen, they also have a say in terms of political arithmetics of this country. Maybe some politics, gigmatics are being played around, and that is why he is finding himself in the middle of that kind of a scenario. or maybe somebody is trying to fix him. And that is not the case, because Miriam, that estate where these people stay are luxurious places where even to address to go there is quite an uphill task. Therefore, those people who got there, they looks to be people who are well connected, and they were people who were monitoring way around of him. And maybe this is not something that started last night, the previous night, but maybe it's something that they have been doing for quite a period of time. Maybe that day was just the fative day when they caught him red-handed. And that is so unfortunate, because we know the kind of employment that those companies create for the young people, because Manu Chandaria is one of the biggest industrialists in East Africa. Therefore,
yes, go ahead.
Yeah, the kind of investment that he has put, the kind of investment that he has put in place, job creations. And that is quite an unfortunate thing. And we hope the laws under the security agencies will rise into occasion and do their investigations. And those who are culpable for those kind of acts should be taken to bar, and they serve as a sentence, because that is not the right way we want to move this country. And Miriam, when I was coming in, and yesterday here in Nanyuki, we had a fire that caught up one of our areas here in Majengo, and we call it Kisumudogo in these areas. But the fire extinguisher, they did their job in time, and properties were able to be saved. And I hope those people who are injured have been taken to hospital. But that was not just by the way. But when I was coming in, I found Douglas and a professor having a discussion going around the Mount Kenya arithmetics.
Yes, go ahead. Okay, we seem to be having a problem there with his signal.
Miriam, let me just have this to say to Manu Chandaria.
Yes.
You know, Miriam, I'm a member of the Rotary Club of Nairobi. Dr. Manu Chandaria is a member. Miriam, Dr. Manu Chandaria is an old man. He's doing his 92 years. Even some of the young people want to engage themselves in crime, Miriam. There's also nowhere to go and strike. But let me just not preempt the investigation, Miriam. Let me not call it an inside job. Let me try to say that the security men and the security guard and the police, they slept on the job. Those people to go and attack Muthaiga is not like another slum or another estate. It is a well-guarded area, and even when the criminals or the robbers go to that place, Miriam, they must have done a very thorough investigation, Miriam. If it could not be an inside job where the investigation will save us, Miriam, then the criminals are going ahead of the system, Miriam. Then they might have done enough research for them to penetrate and enter the compound of Manu Chandaria. But I want to wish the Mzee recovers from the trauma. And our young people, Miriam, crime does not pay. That's a good man. If you go to Kenyatta University, you can see what he has done. You can go to Nairobi University, Miriam, you can see the kind of contribution he has made. He's a good old man. And wherever you go, Miriam, I would only urge young people that wherever you are angry and you need money, if you walk to that old man and you tell Mzee Tukuna Anja, you Mzee can solve them, Miriam. That's what I can tell the young people, that even if you engage in crime, there are some areas where you need not to defend. That's the old man.
I know. I mean, Javen, how do you sit and think it's okay to attack a person like Manu Chandaria, who has a very old man and also who has contributed immensely even to causes that benefit a lot of young people with he's known philanthropist in this country, and he's changed lives and he's invested in people and he's created a lot of jobs. I don't know. I don't understand how. I was ashamed that is even happened.
Yeah, when you look at it from a different angle, Miriam, you see that maybe the hopelessness that we have in the young people and the technological advancement, they are able to monitor a whereabout of these odium zests. I think the technological part of it, we should not also think that our law enforcers are sleeping, but the kind of these courses that people take in universities, some of them, they open up their mind and they can monitor your compound, that they can figure out one or two confidant of your area, and they leak the information to them, and that is how you are caught up in the trap.
Right.
And I hope that the young people should also not go and they should also invest, because we are very knowledgeable in other areas in technological and innovations. We should try to do something else that will benefit other people and create jobs to the younger generation that are behind us.
All right, Douglas, as we conclude on these headlines, because the standard headline, kings and queens of political jabs, I will not get into that, so that we get into our topic of the day, Douglas.
Yes, Miriam?
Yes, we were looking at that story about Manu Chandaria and the robbery attack that happened in his house a couple of nights ago. And I mean, hata kama ni wizi, there are places where even your conscience should judge you?
I think the young generation is also out of touch, and also, like Professor was trying to allude, I think Professor was trying to say, even if you want to steal, don't go steal to old people like Manu Chandaria and all that. But again, we don't even encourage crime in this country. One thing we need to also understand as a young generation is that at the end of the day, crime does not pay. And also going amassing cases for yourself and also stealing from old people like Manu Chandaria and family is not the best thing we can do. We can do better as young people. And also for those people who attacked Manu Chandaria, they should also come out and ask for forgiveness and the police officers that were involved, because this is not what Kenya is. Manu Chandaria has given so much to this country. Manu Chandaria has not stolen from anyone. He has employed a lot of people, and it is very regrettable that the only thing we can reward the old Manu Chandaria, who is also going to almost 100 years today, is that we went ahead and also stole from his family and harassed him. So I think that is very regrettable, and also we condemn that in the strongest terms possible. It is not the right thing that we should have done as a country. As young people, the technology and also the energy that we used to go and steal at Manu Chandaria's Muthaiga home, because it is a very well guarded home, we can use that energy to track Al-Shabaab and other terrorist groups, so that we can be able to completely wipe them out of our land and also wipe out other thieves like ourselves. They should try and give that technology to government, so that government can hire them, so that we can stop crime and also not stealing from other right-minded Kenyans who have also contributed to the livelihoods of millions of Kenyans. People like Manu Chandaria are people that we cannot even think. If you find Manu Chandaria walking in the streets, pickpocketing him is the last thing a right-minded Kenyan, a Kenyan who is patriotic to their motherland and fatherland, can be able to do. They should not be able to harass the old man, and also the people who have been involved in that should also go to jail, serve their term, and also apologize and seek for forgiveness from Manu Chandaria.
All right. Very well, thank you so much. So now we are done with the news making headlines there. So now let's just turn into, our story, our topic of the day, and that is Somalia has cut diplomatic ties with Kenya, and Somalia has severed diplomatic ties with Kenya in dead of the night, citing interference and violation of her sovereignty and territorial integrity. Somalia Minister of Information Osman Abubakar Dube announced cutting ties with Kenya at around 1:40 a.m. Mogadishu time. That will be Kenyan time as well, on state-run SNTV. Mogadishu says it will withdraw all its diplomats from Kenya and has ordered Kenyan diplomats to leave the country within 7 days. Somalia wants all its diplomats to go back to Mogadishu and Kenyan diplomats to come back. And he further added that Somalia decided to officially cut diplomatic ties with Kenya because of the latter's frequent interference with her politics, and Kenya always wanted to create problems in Somalia. So that is what the Somalian Somalian Minister of Information Osman said. Now the escalation of the diplomatic spat, which has led to a divorce between Mogadishu and Nairobi, comes days after Somaliland President Mose Bihi arrived in Kenya on December 13th for a 3-day state visit. Professor, I'll start with you, your reaction.
Miriam, in fact, in my research, In my research, the research I was doing, Miriam, one of the questions I was asking is that Somalia is our neighbor, and it is our responsibility, Miriam, to see a stable Somalia. A stable Somalia is good for the region, is good for Djibouti, is good for Eritrea, is good for Ethiopia, is good for Kenya, is good for Tanzania, and it's good for the region, Miriam. And it is very unfortunate, Miriam, that one has to happen, and God gave us relatives and God gave us neighbors. There's nothing you can do with your neighbor. They can close the embassy, we can close everything else, but still, Miriam, we remain neighbors. So what I'm trying to say, I am promoting good relationship with a neighbor. Whether you talk with your neighbor or you don't talk to your neighbor, Miriam, we are neighbors. How I pray that, Miriam, that we could have given dialogue a chance. And even, Miriam, the resources which we are fighting in the Indian Ocean, Miriam. Since God created the world up to now, Miriam, we are surviving and we have not used those resources. They have not used those resources. So, Miriam, that is overboard, but what I want to see is the reaction of Somalia and President who was here. That's what has stated into that one, Miriam. As Kenya, Miriam, we know we want to be friends with everybody and have nobody as our enemy. I want to believe that, Miriam, even the kind of the president who is trying now to cross our embassy in Somalia and everybody else, they have lived here in Kenya, Miriam. We created the Somalia government here in Kenya, Miriam. Our defense forces, Miriam, are in Somalia trying to say that, Miriam, guys, why can't you make your own government, Miriam? And I want to quote Dr. Kalonzo Musyoka, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. You know, he's a special envoy. He once said, Miriam, that time has come for Somalia to put their acts together. Otherwise, the world will get tired with them. The world will get tired with them. Miriam, what will happen to the investment of the Somali people have done in this country, Miriam? They have got the largest investment in this country, Miriam. They are our brothers, Miriam. So to that next time, the president has goofed, but Miriam, you know, conflict is also good because it also gives an opportunity for us to sit down and see where we have gone wrong. But what I want to say, Miriam, a stable Somalia is good for Kenya. And Kenya has done everything possible, Miriam. From 1991, Miriam. From 1991. It is 29 years now, Miriam, to ensure that Somalia becomes a stable country. So you saw what Magufuli did one time, Miriam. And I also want to commend and quote Amina, who was the Minister for Foreign Affairs then, the Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs then. Magufuli also one day, he decided to just get the animals for the Maasai, the pastoralist Miriam people. He took their animals and auctioned them, Miriam. And you know what he did to our chicken, Miriam? But Miriam said that we are neighbors. There's nothing we can do. There are so many Tanzanians who were pastoralists who had crossed in Kenya, Miriam. So he said, we are neighbors, and you see, we have managed. So what I would only say to Somalia people, the Somalia president, Miriam, is let him just engage his brother, President Uhuru Kenyatta. We are members of IGAD. We are members of African Union, Miriam. We have got enough avenue and enough space, Miriam, where we can hide on our differences, Miriam. The Kikuyu people, Miriam, say that when you carve two axes, shokambili kwa kiondo, they call it kwa kikab, Miriam, they strike each other, but Miriam, they don't harm each other. So our relationship, Miriam, with Somalia, Miriam, should not go to jeopardize the relationship between the Somali people and the Kenyan people which we have enjoyed for so many years, Miriam. Remember, Miriam, the northern eastern parts of Kenya, the Somalis, they have got their neighbors and their brothers across, and there are others across this country. So we are one people. Problems which come, issues which come, Miriam, no matter how big they are, no matter how huge they are, if we can be able to sit around the table, Miriam, we can be able to thrust it out. Let them not allow the external forces, Miriam. Someone who is as far as Miriam in France, as far as Qatar, as far as Turkey, come in and Miriam and interfere with us. If we have found, Miriam, if it is so difficult for them to allow us to speak to their children, that's like Somaliland, if they find it that it is unattainable, Miriam, there is a way, Miriam, we can be able to engage each other. That's what I'm saying, that let us give that a chance. There is no need, Miriam, to allow the relationship of Kenya and Somalia to go the A way. You know Al-Shabaab, Miriam. You know the terrorists, Miriam. We will give them a chance, and Miriam, the world will regret for Kenya and Somalia to have ties which are not good, Miriam. I submit.
All right, very well. Douglas, what was your reaction to that move by Somalia to cut diplomatic ties with Kenya?
Thank you, Miriam. One of the things that I think that Mogadishu is not oblivious to, or they know, but the Farmajo administration is also ignoring, is the fact that Kenya is able to put stability in their region and also their land. Because since 1991, like Professor said, Mogadishu, or rather Somalia, has been able to receive not only support, they have been able to receive military aid from Kenya and also receive a lot of support in terms of their stability and also development in their region. But remember, at this point in time, the Farmajo administration has been one administration that has been causing chaos to Nairobi. Everything that Kenya would do, the Farmajo administration has not been able to respond in kind. But I think at this point in time, it is the high time Nairobi responds with extreme diplomatic pressure on Mogadishu by beginning the process to officially recognize Somaliland as a country on its own, and also by doing so, we are able to maybe in a way curtail the responses from Mogadishu, because I also believe that Somaliland deserves the international recognition as a state that she rightfully deserves. And I think using the Westphalian Declaration of 1648, which states Westphalian principle of recognition of another state's sovereignty and its right to decide its own fate, rest at the foundations of international law and principle that each state has sovereignty over its territory and domestic affairs to the exclusion of all external powers, on the principle of non-interference, and in other countries, domestic affairs, and that each state, no matter how small or large, is equal in international law. The doctrine is named after the Peace of Westphalia, signed in 1648. At this point, I think the only thing that Kenya is left with is just to recognize Somaliland and also be able to retaliate for what the Farmajo administration has been able to do. For example, today, I think it's today, Miriam, Somalia has also written to IGAD regarding the issue of interference with the internal affairs and also political affairs in the country by Kenya. They have reported us.
It wrote to IGAD over the weekend there, and I think there was a meeting on Sunday in Djibouti.
Yes, Miriam. So I think at this point in time, we not only need to be able to do something about it, we need to be able to exert our authority as a country and also a sovereign state, because Somalia has treated us as not as partners in development and also their stability for their fragile country, but they have treated us with a lot of contempt that we need to be able to retaliate, Miriam. I think what we need to do as a country, because we also host one of the biggest refugees camp from Somalia, but our plan to be able to take them back to their country have been able to bore ritual results, because at the end of the day, These people cannot be able to go to a very fragile Somalia. And also remember, our forces in Somalia and also who are in AMISOM have been able to play a huge role in containing the Al-Shabaab menants and also small militias in Somalia. At this point, I think what we need to do as a country, we need to be able to also pull out of Somalia, pull our forces from Somalia, pull out them from Somalia, and also cause other countries to pull out of Somalia through AMISOM, so that we can be able to grow our country and also to restore our people the way we need to be able to restore, especially the northeastern people. We need to be able to give ourselves a chance as a country to be able to grow our own country and also strengthen our military. Remember, we have lost so many people trying to fight for these people who are very ungrateful, Miriam. So I think at this point in time, we need to be able to sever links completely the way they are doing, because they have officially and permanently severed links with us.
Maybe not permanently, I'm sure. Maybe temporarily. I don't know. But for now, they've not said it's permanent, but they've said they've severed the diplomatic ties right now. Let me just get to Javan and get your reaction to that. Somalia dead in the night at around 1:40 a.m. Mogadishu made this announcement. I mean, was it so urgent they could not wait for the sun to come out? It must have been very urgent for them. Javan.
Maybe from their side was urgent.
It was a burning issue, I guess.
Yeah. And Miriam, I feel like we need to have a negotiation. We need to have an agreement, and people should sit down and talk. The government on this other side of our country, the people from the Somaliland, they should also come together, the Somalia, and sit together, the hand of state, the diplomatic team that comes across the two countries. They should sit down and bring a conclusion on these matters. And when doing that, they should do it with a level of caution, so that we settle on an agreement or a solution that will benefit the both sides equally. And Miriam, we have underlying issues that affect these two countries. And when you look at the issue of Al-Shabaab, they originate from Somalia, and they attack even a country like Kenya, which starts even to bring sanity to the deplorable state. Therefore, you see, we have a problem, and unless we come on the table and discuss these things openly, without fear and without hiding anything, with an open mind, that is the only time we'll find a solution on this issue, because the issue of Al-Shabaab affects this country. That is why you have a lot of people have died in the hands of these criminals. Therefore, we should also look onto that. And the issue of the foreign interference, this is something else that is affecting our relationship with these people from Somalia. And we should also look into and make the priority of us as a region the first thing that matters to us, before any other policies is made outside our continent that comes in future to affect our relationship. And Miriam, when you look entirely in the East African community and this African Union, you see that there's a lot of problems, not only Kenya and the Somali, but when you look at the relationship that we have, even with our brothers from Tanzania, you see it's not a good relationship. It's not a harmonious relationship that guarantees good diplomatic ties in the field of trade and exchange programs and those kind of things. But it's just a relationship because we are neighbors. You know, they're just that kind of a relationship you have because you are just by neighbors. But if you had a chance to relocate to and get new neighbors, I think that is the situation that we have in the East African community, where countries stay there. You saw the other day when Uganda was trying to talk on the issue of Ethiopia. The Ethiopia don't want to hear anything with the Museveni or anything coming from that country. Mm-hmm. And that is not the country or the region that was there in 1960s, the East African community. Mm-hmm. What we have today is a replica of an institution that is not keen on bringing developments or bringing relationship in this country. Therefore, Miriam, as I conclude, the issue of Somalia and Kenya, they should settle amicably. And Miriam, we also have the issue of the Indian Ocean. And when we had that proceedings in the ICC, you saw
ICJ,
a lot of
International
other,
Court of Justice, yes.
Yeah, and you see, we have those problems, and you could see even from the sides of accusers and those people, you could see there are a lot of things that are hidden under the table, and unless the diplomatic as from the side of Kenya sits down and negotiate, and they do it with a kind of a heart that is open and without favorism, that is the only way that they speak out. They know what they want. Maybe we are the one who has a problem, but unless we speak, that is when we'll be able to have a solution on those issues.
Okay, Jevon, thank you. And of course, when it comes to the Somalia and Kenya maritime dispute there's a lot of outside interference and other international interests that have also worked to continue fueling that dispute there. So that is a conversation for another day. But as we speak right now, currently Kenya has a close to 3,500 troops serving in AMISOM, and their fate remains unclear following the latest reactions from Mogadishu. The troops first invaded Somalia in 2011 under the Operation Lindanchi and have since been part of the team that has liberated many strategic towns from Al-Shabaab. Professor, we have over to 3,500 troops. What is their fate from these new developments? What is likely to happen to our soldiers there?
Miriam, we hear this. And what Dr. Masanga sometimes says is true. And we should take him serious. And I totally concur with him that the current regime in Somalia is part of Al-Shabaab. That one we can debate, but I can now, when you see events and then you want to pierce things, Miriam, put things together, Miriam, you can say if they are not part of Al-Shabaab, they are sympathizers of Al-Shabaab. And you know the role which we have played, Miriam. The Kenyan soldiers who are there, the defense forces who are there, they are under the courtesy of the African Union. So the troops are safe, they can work, and if they find it not attainable. In any event, Miriam, you know the withdrawal of those the ammunitions, Miriam. You know the plan is underway. It's underway. So if they bring it forward, that's it, Miriam. Because if a neighbor doesn't want you in his house, Miriam, what do you do? Do you insist that you want to be there?
You cannot insist.
Yes, you can say. That's what I've said, Miriam, is let us give dialogue a chance. I know we can be able to discuss, Miriam. Somalia is part of Kenya, Miriam. That kind of government which is in Somalia, Miriam, the president now is talking about, Miriam, we have created that government. We have invested too much in that government, Miriam. And I know the good people of Somalia, people, are not going to raise that kind of nonsense, Miriam. So what I want to say that Miriam, in any event, I had given a recommendation for him, Miriam, that he reported to IGAD. And if he had reported to IGAD, Miriam, then he could have waited for a meeting to be convened and a discussion to be held, Miriam. A stable Somalia, Miriam, is good for Kenya. And I would also insist, I don't want to go Douglas way, because the Douglas way is that Kenya has, this is the time for it to show our muscle, Miriam. We need not to do it, Miriam. That is a small child, Miriam. That is no country. Remember, Somalia is a failed state. We are trying to see whether it can be a state. It is not a state. It is failed, Miriam. They cannot organize for an election, Miriam. Their parliament, where we did at the Grand Regency Hotel, Miriam, their first government, Miriam, was here in Kenya, Miriam. We have invested too much to ensure that Somalia becomes a country that we cannot abandon them at this 11th hour because of the rogue leaders, Miriam. A rogue leader tomorrow will go, but Somalia will remain. Miriam, today we are there, tomorrow we are not there. We are saying that the people of Somalia, our brothers and Somalia and Kenya, we should continue enjoying that relationship. So the withdrawal of the AMISOM soldiers, Miriam, you know, by the year 2022 or 21, they should have moved from that place, Miriam. But again, do they have enough defense forces of the internal forces of Somalia to tackle Al-Shabaab? That's a question which we need to ask ourselves.
And
remember, our going to Somalia, to going to Kismayo, to Mogadishu, it is not because we wanted to go. We wanted to be safe.
Kenya was provoked.
And since our defense forces, Miriam, went to Mogadishu, Kismayo, Kenya has been relatively been safe, Miriam. One of the papers I was trying to say, I'm doing a paper on the terrorism as a threat to our national security, Miriam. It is because our national security is threatened, Miriam. So, Miriam, I hope a solution will be found. I know what has happened. That one is retaliating because we want to embrace the other brother, Miriam. That's basically what's come. But let us not allow Norway. Let us not allow Qatar. Let us not allow Turkey to interfere with our relationship. It will be short-lived. I have said, Miriam, the kind of resources we are fighting, the oil in Indian Ocean, Miriam, we have never exploited it since God created the world. So it is not worthy for us to go to war or to go and fight. But what I'm trying to say is that what is rightfully for Kenya, we will defend. Up to the last man, what's rightfully for Kenya. And what is rightfully for the Somalia people, Miriam? I'm a Kenyan. I will tell my government, I'll tell the Kenyan people, that is for Somalia. That is how we can have good relationship, Miriam, with our neighbors.
All right. Thank you. And now, Douglas, the professor, of course, has said that there are plans to remove KDF from Somalia, and we're still not sure what date, but I think the plans have been underway. But in the meantime, our soldiers are there, and we've seen reports from before from the National Intelligence Services saying even sometimes the Somalia government works in cahoots with the Al-Shabaab to target attacks on the Kenyan soldiers there. Are we likely to see this escalate, or the lives of our soldiers there even been plunged to more danger right now?
Miriam, the Republic of Kenya is a sovereign state. I agree with the way Professor has been able to put it right, but we also need to understand that our Kenyan soldiers are not robots. We need to also understand that our sovereignty as a country is also under threat from this Farmajo administration. I know Farmajo is going to leave the presidency very soon, as the professor aptly has been able to put it. Farmajo will leave Somalia, yes, but at this point in time, Miriam, we cannot continue helping Farmajo when they kill our soldiers. Immediately when a soldier is enlisted at the KDF, the first station they are stationed, instead of serving their fatherland and motherland that they have sworn to protect, and what they have sworn to give their blood for, they give their blood to Farmajo and also their people to be able to be killed. So at this point in time, I think history will record me right when I say we need to be able to remove our forces there, because Farmajo is showing us the middle finger, and as far as our soldiers are concerned, Farmajo does not understand. Like Professor was saying, I also believe now from this morning, Farmajo is a senior Al-Shabaab sympathizer and also a financier and also a man who has benefited from Al-Shabaab. You cannot kill our soldiers every day. You cannot be able to bomb our soldiers. And we also, as a country, clap for Farmajo administration, because these people are killing our children. They are killing our soldiers. Good soldiers that will be in barracks, practicing something else, maybe doing engineering and also other things, innovations. We've seen KDF rehabilitating railway lines in the country. We've seen KDF doing other things. They should be doing other things in our country. In Somalia, Farmajo is going to bomb our children, is going to bomb our soldiers, and our sovereignty as a country, like Professor said, will be threatened. So I think at this point in time, we either cause the removal of Farmajo from Somalia or take our forces from Somalia. We need to be able to remove our children and also AMISOM forces from Somalia, because we are killing our people. In as much as I agree with the professor, the stability of Somalia and everything that we have worked for, we have invested a lot, but it comes a time when you get tired. We are tired by this Farmajo administration. They have killed our people, they have spilled our brand, and they have been working in court with the Al-Shabaab every morning. So Miriam, I think this is my personal opinion, and I think very strongly that at this point, like Professor was saying, in 2021, President Uhuru can be able to effect that very quickly. We don't want to wait for 2022. Let him remove our soldiers from Somalia, because Farmajo has been able to even to somehow degrade President Uhuru Kenyatta and his peace effort in Somalia. At this point, I think when President Uhuru Kenyatta has invited President V of Somaliland in State House, has been able to see that the Farmajo, there is nothing that can come out of Farmajo administration. He has an evil access in Mogadishu that has been able to put our soldiers at risk. So, Miriam, my opinion is as quick as much we would like to see a stable Somalia. We have accommodated so many Somalis in this country. The many businesses in CBD are owned by Somalis. In Isri, they are there. In the DAP, we have so many refugees from Somaliland. What we can do as a country is now to help them from afar. We can no longer continue having our soldiers there because Farmajo is going to bomb them. He's going to kill them. He doesn't care about Kenya. Miriam, before I cross on this, we've seen so many brains in recent past, I think 2 or 3, have been shot down in Mogadishu. And this is unacceptable. Our people are dying. Our soldiers are spilling blood for Somalia. They didn't show to protect the Somalia.
Okay.
They showed to protect their fatherland.
The boundaries, and perhaps in protecting the Kenyan boundaries, they had to go in there and ensure that Al-Shabaab stays over there because, Kenya was forced to go into Somalia through that Lindanchi because you'd seen the attacks from Al-Shabaab, the kidnappings and all that. So through threatening our sovereignty and our borders, that is what made KDF, go into Somalia. But there has been some questions of has KDF overstayed its stay in Somalia? And maybe that is something that we should be interrogating. But in the meantime, of course, Somalia has also submitted a complaint to Regional Bloc, the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD, to include this part with Kenya during the upcoming virtual summit on December 20th on Tigray. Now, Kenya, though, became the second country in the year after Guinea, which Somalia has cut ties over the Somaliland issue. So the president of Somaliland also went to Guinea, and so with that, President Farmajo cut off ties with Guinea. But very interesting, he went to Ethiopia, but Ethiopia did not get the same reaction. Why do you think that is the reason, Jeven?
Yeah, thank you very much, Miriam, for that question. And before I come to the issue of Somalia and how it is cutting ties with other countries, the previous question that you have asked, whether we should take our soldiers from Somalia and bring them home, I understand that part of our duties of the KDF is to protect the country from external attacks. And when you look at the Al-Shabaab, it's part of attacks that come from external country, and those kind of terrorism attacks that comes from other countries. That is the sole and one of the purpose that we have a KDF. And when we take them there, we should do it in a very humane way. And I think we should do it in phases. And we should not just wake up one day and take our soldiers from AMISOM and bring them back home, because that will create a point of uncertainty. And we have seen the kind of works
uncertainty from Kenya or from Somalia?
From both sides, because at the end of the day, if we don't have a representative there, we'll be seen as people who are willing to see these Al-Shabaab take root. And from the people of Somalia, we are part of protecting them from internal attacks, because they don't have a country. What they have is a shell of what they used to be in future. And if we do that, we should do it phase one, and we bring them back home in a kind of a human way. But we cannot just wake up one day and bring all of our soldiers back home in the name of Somalia. We are not in a diplomatic, we are not in good diplomatic cause with them. Because when we do that, Miriam, and we have seen a lot of success made when we had, and there was also when we had the Leader Kenya initiative by President Kibaki, taking our soldiers there was a lot of resistance from people who said, oh, this is not good, this is not fair, they go and die there. But we have seen an improvement, especially in this regime of President Uhuru Kenyatta. After the reinforcement that they got, we have not seen so much of these attacks. Yes, we have, but at least it's not that as severe that they used to be.
Right.
Therefore, let's look on that. And on the issue of Somali, we see this is a country that is bitter with anybody else that they see as a progressive than them and making a stride. And because of the confusion that they are in themselves, unless they settle their issues as a country first, they will not be able to have any other good relationship with the countries around them, because they have different forces. They have these part of the government that supports the president. We have other force that is dividing from the country, and they forming a group of people who are attacking the same the government from this other side. Therefore, the confusion in Somalia, that is why you find they are not able to settle things in their country. And we don't expect them to be able even to bring a good relationship with their neighboring countries. And when you look at Kenya and Somali, we are far much ahead in matters of development. And maybe that is one of the reasons why they feel they don't need to be associated with this country. And from the external factors and the foreign interference, that is why they are that bitter. Nothing else. Yeah, they're just bitter because of the competition in matters of development and them not be able to settle things out and the issue of the Indian Ocean and so on. Those are some of things that are making them bitter. And the other reason is to have our soldiers there. You know, for them, they may wish that the soldiers are not there so that they can expand their routes. That is some of the reason. And I think Al-Shabaab might be happy from another angle if we take them, these soldiers from Somalia.
All right, Javen there. Douglas, you've raised your hand. Yeah. But
let me just have this to say.
Okay.
When a military of a country, when an army attacking a country, Miriam, you must always be having a strategy. When to go in, when to take cover, when to retreat, and when to surrender. And I want to know and believe that the Kenya Defense Forces have got a strategy when we need to do this one. And we need to ask ourselves, why did we go to Somalia? We wanted to pursue these people, Miriam. So what now our Defense Forces, Miriam, here is to do is we have to procure our porous borders. That's what it is. We have contained them there. Now is to ensure that they don't come to Kenya, Miriam, by in ensuring that our porous borders are secure.
So what you're suggesting, Professor, is perhaps have our soldiers back in the country and protect us from the inside.
And one of the things which I want to agree with Douglas and is this, Miriam. Now this is what the American says. When it comes to their security, the security of the American people, they don't need permission from anybody else. So long as our people in Kenya are not secure, Miriam, we will pursue people who are causing insecurity, who are making the people of Kenya not being safe. And Miriam, that's why we went all the way to Kismayu. We never needed permission from anybody else. The government of Somalia cannot be able to contain the Al-Shabaab. And we are telling these people are causing a problem. That's why we are to pursue it, Miriam. And that's how eventually how the African, the ammunition came in, Miriam. Remember, Miriam, even the American people have tried with Somalia. They gave up. And that's why I was everybody quoting Dr. Stephen Karonso that the world is getting tired. And Miriam, when it comes to self-determination, I myself, when it comes to self-determination of our people, Miriam, and that's why, Miriam, I'm always on the forefront in fighting for people who are asking for self-determination, like Western Sahara. You know, I am on the forefront to ensure that Western Sahara becomes an independent country and Morocco gets out of Western Sahara, Miriam. So, Miriam, nobody has got permission to choose for Kenya who becomes our friends.
Okay.
That one, no, nobody. That is a territory where they need to venture. The Somalia can become our friend. Somaliland can become our friend. You cannot dictate to us that you don't relate with the other one, Miriam. And if Somaliland are looking for their self-determination, and it will not take long, Miriam. From where I sit, I give you 10 years from today. Somalia as a country, and for peace to be in that country, we must split that country. Those who want to think Al-Shabaab way, continue with Al-Shabaab way. Those who want to be very progressive like Somaliland, see like this president now is engaging. In fact, why should they come to Kenya when they are supposed to engage their brother? How do we come in? They are having a government, it is recognized, they are fighting for self-determination, so media. But be it as it may, they have reported a case, it will be tabled on the table, and the discussion will commence, and if we are on the wrong, we will admit we are on the wrong, If they are on the wrong, they will admit we are on the wrong. But what I'm trying to say is that let us have a peaceful coexistence.
Very well.
There is no need at all for you to have an hostile neighbor. You would only lose. In fact, let me tell you for one, if Kenyan Defense Forces and ammunition gets out of Somalia, Al-Shabaab have taken off. And that's why I gave a rider. And I won't be far from the truth. The current regime, if they are not Al-Shabaab, they are serious sympathizers of Al-Shabaab.
And
the person who have pushed them very hard is Kenya.
All right.
You have talked about,
and Professor, we also know, that the U.S. is planning to pull its troop out of Somalia by January 15th. And now we see the future of KDF there. I don't know, maybe AMISOM will remain there. But we know that the U.S. Army has been very instrumental when it comes to the fight of Al-Shabaab. So that means that, this will leave us insecure even in our own space, and now we see we don't know where the future of KDF will be when it comes to helping the government of Somalia in restoring peace and stability there. And the US is moving out. President Donald Trump, he is leaving a wake of distraction in his last days in office. But we saw yesterday he's already removed Sudan from the list of countries supporting terrorists. So that is a good thing, but he's also doing other things that are out of order, removing troops from Somalia by 15th of January. He said that.
Miriam, a child, regardless what age he is or her, unless he accepts to be shaved, you cannot force that person. Miriam, we cannot force peace in Somalia. The Somali people have to decide that they need peace.
Absolutely.
And I've given you a very serious recommendation, and I hope the intelligence and the military people in this country, they are listening. We have chased them, we have contained them. Let us come and secure our porous borders so that they don't come in.
So secure
when
from
they
inside.
try to come in, we are them.
Okay.
That's what we'll be.
All right, very well. So now, of course,
Miriam.
Yes.
This is my rejoinder to what Professor is saying. At this point in time, since Operation Rida Inchi, when we went to pursue the Al-Shabaab deep into their territory, into their country, and also the Farmajo administration from henceforth, from the day Farmajo became the president of Somalia, he never showed any interest in helping other people who are helping them. The Farmajo administration is an axis of evil in the region. I know a stable Somalia is good for us. That is, it is in the books. I know a stable Ethiopia is good for our region. But at this point in time, we need to be able to stamp our authority in the region as a country. And that is what President Uhuru Kenyatta has done. He has called the president of Somaliland, the State House, to be able to talk about bilateral issues. And one thing we need to be able to understand at this point is that our soldiers are dying. They didn't so to spill their blood was not to be spilled in a foreign land for them protecting the people of Somalia. Like Professor is saying, we need to come back into our country and protect our borders. We can even we can go and also cross the Dadaab refugee camp. We don't care. At this point in time, we have invested so much since 1991.
That will be difficult.
The only thing, Miriam, we have been receiving from these people, we have been receiving. We have been receiving the backlash that we are receiving from Somalia is they are reporting us like small children to a tiger. They are moving they went to ICJ, they went everywhere. They are moving all over as if we are the enemies of that country. And Farmajo and his axis of evil men who are supposed to be strapped with sanctions by Kenya. The people who surround Farmajo are supposed to be strapped by sanctions by Kenya and also Farmajo himself. Because Miriam, at this point, we cannot allow KDF to continue being killed in Somalia, and they are being killed at the beck and call of Farmajo and his administration.
Okay.
So Miriam, what I suggest is that the people of Somalia, we have been so grateful to them. We have allowed them to do business in our country. We have allowed Somalia to be able to thrive, because if were it not for KDF, we have seen Donald Trump is also removing troops from Somalia. He doesn't care. He cares about the interest of their country. President Uhuru Kenyatta is the high time he puts the interest of our country beyond Somalia and also protect our porous borders alone. We need to protect our people in Kenya and in our borders. We should leave them alone. They can decide their fate now.
All right,
At this point,
Douglas, but the issue of closing the Dadaab refugee camp that hosts a lot of Somalis here in Kenya, I think that might not be very possible because Kenya is a signatory to some of these charters, and we know we have a very big.
Yes, Miriam, that is a very radical comment.
Here.
Don't take it serious.
Yes, well, this is a serious talk, so please.
We can't allow Douglas.
So we can't just joke with such very important matter.
Comment, Professor.
Those people, they have learned for their safety,
Yes.
Douglas.
And we're signatory to that charter that protects, refugees under the United Nations, so we cannot send them back. Kenya will be
it is a very radical comment. Miriam, I substantiate.
Right.
But on our soldiers,
but there's a time Kenya wanted, actually. There's a time when Kenya was at the height of insecurity coming from Al-Shabaab in Somalia. Kenya got tired, and we attempted to repatriate them back, and you see how it became a matter of international concern because under that signatory we cannot actually do that, but I don't know. All right, very well. So as we speak right now, and there's something also I wanted to respond to. I think Javan said that right now some of the reasons perhaps that might have addressed this move by Somalia, then maybe Somalia is jealous. Well, because this is a conversation perhaps me and a professor and doctor have been having here for the longest time. If you look at the history in Somalia and where it is right now and the different players and the interest they have in Somalia, then you will understand that Somalia, even sometimes the decisions the President Farmajo makes there in Somalia are advised by external forces which have a very heavy hand there in Somalia. And it's not that Somalia is jealous of Kenya. It is because of the interest that are in Somalia, that want something in Somalia, because we know Somalia has been in war for the last over 25 years. So right now, as a resemblance of peace is trying to return to Somalia, there are a lot of opportunities in terms of setting up industries, in terms of building an infrastructure, in terms of a lot of opportunities. And we know Somalia also has natural resources, and these are the interests that we see at play when it comes to Somalia. So it's a very complex, when we have to look at and see what really is at play there and at stake in Somalia. So a lot of it is external forces who have a lot of interest in Somalia, and KDF and other being there, they're seeing could be a threat to their interest which they have there in Somalia. So sometimes it's not even Farmajo talking, it's somebody else out there. Yes.
Miriam, remember what Javan said is somehow true. Do you know Farmajo has copied the big President Uhuru Kenyatta and presented it to the people of Somalia?
I think that is what do you call it? Copying is flattery is when somebody copies you. That means it's the copy.
That guy is jealous.
He's jealous.
Like Javan was saying.
Maybe they also just.
That shows you're doing better, Miriam.
I'm not sure about jealous.
You cannot copy.
Miriam, let me just.
It's the highest form of flattery.
I'll change the question. It is not. When you look at Somalia, Miriam and Javan and Douglas, it's very complex.
It is complex.
When you see the tail of a snake, don't touch it because it is already coiled itself and it's ready to strike if you touch the tail. It is very important that we understand why the president of Somalia is behaving the way he's behaving. Mm-hmm. We have done what is humanly possible, Miriam. And before the eyes of God, Kenya is a great country. We mean well for Somalia, Miriam. We want a stable Somalia, Miriam. Mm-hmm. But the president himself does want a stable Somalia. So what are they saying? It is the natural resources, Miriam. Remember, Somalia has got the richest coastal line, Miriam. People are taking their resources. They are fishing. Miriam, in every other conflict, Miriam, there are some people who gain. Like look in this country, Miriam. Which people are coming with high sky buildings in this country? You wake up one morning and you see a flood just emerging.
Somalis.
So what we want to say, Miriam, here is that what Kenya has done and the AMISOM has done, there is been a resemblance of peace and stability in Somalia, Miriam. And the people don't want that. Because if there is a stable Somalia, Miriam, how will Qatar penetrate and get their resources? How will Turkey penetrate and get their resources? How can Norway penetrate and get resources? When there is instability of a country, Miriam, that's when they sieve on your resources, Miriam. And what we want to do, Miriam, is that it is not that we are a coward as a country, Miriam. And as the Douglas and Jevan said, Somalia is a fair state. So if we enter and we want to quarrel with them, Miriam, we enter into their trap.
We can't go that low.
What we need to do is to change our strategy. If they have copped the big four for the good of the people of Somalia, Miriam, I think that's good for the region.
That's fantastic.
In fact, in any event, I want Africa as a continent to copy the big four agenda, Miriam, because it will take Africa into another level. So we must be very careful, Miriam, as Dr. Masanga puts it, that we are entering into a trap. They know the role which Kenya has played, Miriam. And for sure, let me tell you, we are not short of options, Miriam. We can still adamantly remain in Somalia. We have got that ability, we have got that capacity, Miriam. Nobody invited us to go to Somalia. Were we invited? Did the African Union tell us to go there?
But we went anyway.
We went anyway. So nobody's going to threaten us, and you were trying to say that our soldiers are going to be vulnerable. No. Those are soldiers, and the soldiers are there to defend our country, and they will defend our country from wherever they are. Miriam, as I was going to Ram, I went with one of the soldiers. We traveled one of the soldiers who was going to Ram, and then you can be able to fly to Somalia, Miriam. He is trying to say the Somali ordinary people are extremely happy with our defense forces, Miriam. Miriam, hear this. This is where they go for food. This is where they go for medical to be attended there, to be treated. So what we want to say, Miriam, here is that since they have reported to IGAD, since the African Union is there, Miriam, let us try to sit down and see what are these things which are dividing us.
All right. Okay, very well. So as we speak right now, just in, pro-opposition rallies have started in Mogadishu today in the morning, still in the morning. Witnesses said protesters are carrying placards with words demanding a fair elections take place in the country. One messages on a placard read, "Stop rigged election resulting displaced people." So we've seen the pro-opposition protests have started there in Mogadishu, and we know one of the things that Somalia is accusing Kenya of is interfering with its elections. If I'm not on November 29th, Somalia summoned its envoy to Kenya for consultations, accusing Nairobi of interfering with Mogadishu's electoral process. But is it just possible that Somalians are just tired of bad leadership and they're just calling for perhaps somebody who will steer the country towards a proper stability and for their own interests? Because as we look at even the latest dispute that we're having in Somalia and the maritime and all that, when you see the interest even the top leadership has there in that dispute, you will see that a lot of it has nothing to do with the interest and the benefit of the people of Somalia. Instead, it's just a few up there, and there has been those reports there. So pro-opposition protests have started in Somalia, and they're saying we want free and fair elections. Sounds like something we do here. But also Somalia has accused Kenya of interference with its elections. I don't know, because I don't know what to say to that. As we conclude.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Let me say this. It reaches a point, Miriam, when you get tired of things around you. And when you see those kind of protests, it's a wake-up call. And I think this is a wake-up call to the government of the day. And they need to streamline things. This shows that there is something that is not well, and the people of Somalia are getting tired. And if they want a free and fair election, that means they think and they see there is a kind of interference with the elections. That is why they want it to be sound, that they need a free and fair election. They don't want to interfere, so that they can elect a leader who they have trust in. And that is the case that is happening in Somalia. And Miriam, if they get a good leader who will be able to bring good relationship with this entire region, then that is our prayer, even as a country, because he might be able even to deal with the Al-Shabaab from within. Because if we have a good leader who has the goodwill to fight this Al-Shabaab and from Somali, and he know how we can get them, because he know 1 or 2, 3 confidants who we can use and scrap this outfit once and forever. That is our prayer as a country.
Okay.
So they should not accuse Kenyans of interfering with their elections.
Maybe Somalis are just tired of whatever has been happening in the country, and they want change. And there's nothing wrong with that. We ask for change here every day. Matter of fact, we're in a process of getting changed through the BBA process. Jeva, sorry, I'll cut you short because our time is far gone and you have to prepare for the other show coming up at 11. So, Douglas, I know you have something to say, but very quickly, make it brief, please.
Farmajo does not listen to the people of Somalia. Farmajo listens to Qatar, to Turkey, and Norway, and also some other forces. The people of Somalia want to replace Farmajo, and Farmajo is not happy, and Nairobi is very happy to report that the people of Somalia will have their way, whether Farmajo wants or not. And as a region, we need to be able to assure the people of Somalia that the elections will be free and fair, and Farmajo will be sent home. So I think at this point in time, Farmajo does not want, including what you have reported, their opposition is, there are small demonstrations in Mogadishu. We are praying that those demonstrations will escalate so that the will of the people of Somalia will not be able to be subverted by anyone, including Farmajo and his sympathizers and people who finance him.
Okay.
Because Farmajo does not serve the interest of people of Somalia, Miriam, and I wish them all the best as they repress him, because he has been an axis of evil in the region. Okay. He has caused us so much havoc because we have been a strong ally of Somalia, and Farmajo has been able to show us a middle finger as a people, as a country that doesn't care about their partner and ally Kenya. So as the people of Somalia and also the opposition demonstrate against Farmajo and his administration, I wish them all the best, because he shall be repressed and there's nothing he will do. Okay. So the countries that are sympathizing with Farmajo, it is not going to work that way. The people of Somalia and their will shall not be subverted by anyone, Miriam. Thank you.
All right, Douglas, clearly we are not going to take you to the Foreign Affairs Ministry there. Utaribu mambo. Professor, complete for us.
Yeah, Miriam, I would only say that a stable Somalia is good for Kenya. A stable Kenya is good for Somalia. We are good neighbors, and the good people of Somalia and the good people of Kenya, we are having very good relationship. I want to ask the president of Somalia and the president of Kenya, they sit down, Miriam. We are neighbors, we are fond of to quarrel and have something to quarrel, but let us look for something which will divide us as neighbors. And Kenya will continue playing a role in the region. Kenya is not a country which we are just going to get annoyed with what this terrorist man is trying to do. Let us get focused, and Miriam is, we shall be there. And I don't want to imagine that it is Kenyan who went to organize the opposition to demonstrate that they need elections, Miriam.
No, Somalis are protesting.
They are Somali themselves who have decided that they don't want you, Miriam. And let me just have this to say, that when will Africa leaders learn to say that they are there to serve the people of the continent and not to serve themselves, and not to serve the external forces. I have said, and I'm repeating, I can see the hand of Qatar, I can see the hand of Norway, I can see the hand of Turkey, and many countries which have got interest in the resources of the continent of Africa. So the African leaders must be able to rise up. And Kenya, we shall continue to do what we can do as a country. We want our people safe. And even if it means for us to ensure that we remain adamant for the security and safety of the Kenyan people, that's the way to go. But I want to say that Kenya as a country, we mean well for our neighbors.
All right.
There is no neighbor, Miriam, I can for sure tell you that we have antagonized. We don't want their resources. We don't want anything. We have not antagonized, Miriam. You see what Museveni was trying to do, fighting our want to take Migingo, forcing our fishermen, Miriam, to eat raw fish. Be it as it may, Miriam, we say that good relations is more important. I've given an example what Magufuli did to the pastoralist people, taking their animals, auction for them, for the sake of stability and good neighborhood. the government of Kenya compensated those farmers, those pastoralist people, and we are ready to move on. So Kenya, we will have friends with everybody. Let the president of Somalia not be scared that we are talking to Somaliland. They are all brothers. Their domestic issues, they should be able to handle and not bring Kenya in.
All right.
I submit.
All right, very well. And of course, Jevin Aladia said that perhaps Somalia is jealous of Kenya. But we know Kenya is a powerhouse in the region. It's the biggest economy in East Africa and also the fourth largest economy, I think, in sub-Saharan Africa and 16th, I think, in the rest of Africa. So we are doing pretty well. So that will cause anybody to get jittery. Look at how, like, Professor, there you've pointed out Tanzania, Uganda, for no reason at all. They just decide we're just going to change how we operate with you. And also very interesting that we see the opposition now, the pro-opposition protest happening in Somalia, demanding for a free and fair elections to happen in Somalia. Douglas, let me surprise you that Somalia's electoral commissioners were being trained by Ugandan electoral commissioners. Yes, on how to handle elections. All right. So that's a story for another. Yeah, they went there for training. Can you imagine? Yeah.
That's a joke.
Well, okay. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Douglas. Thank you, Jevin. Thank you, Professor. We shall be back here at 11 with another conversation involving Africa. My name is Miriam Ogutu. A very good morning to you.